Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. Today I'm going to be doing my first video on the channel about Generation 9. So if you guys don't want to get spoiled, you don't want to know any information until the games come out and you play them, be it via Switch or on Pokemon Showdown, please click away from this video. I don't want to spoil, I don't want to ruin the experience for any of you guys, but I, as a cheerleader, as someone who's kind of a public figure in this regard, I do want to give some early thoughts. Admittedly, I've been a little behind the curve in terms of information. Normally I try and catch up, the days prior to the game. And with for next week, the game coming out, a week from today, as I record this on the 11th of November, I decided last time I was going to ask a question on 7:20 my time. What questions or topics would you guys want me to cover in a video about Generation 9? So now I'm at lunch, the next stage, chilling. I'm vibing, guys. It's 12:20. Good morning so far. I got to admit, good morning. Good morning. I got 8 responses. Nothing too crazy on Twitter. And we're going to go through them one by one and give my thoughts. Again, I don't know everything, pretty limited so far, but we'll make the most of it. So yeah, the first question is going to be how Mandibuzz was too powerful to be included in the game. Now that's my guy Omari P, the GOAT. Unfortunately, he's been removed from the community due to his antics being a little too much. I'll leave it at that for now. But I really do appreciate what Omari P's done for the game when he was back in prominent. He really innovative, creative dude. And he loved his Mandibuzz on them offenses. Utility there for sure. It's tough because I don't really have much to say on Mandibuzz specifically, but it really sucks seeing not every single Pokemon allowed in the game. I would really love it to have a full Pokedex, even if not a start by the end. The DLC model definitely makes tiering harder. It makes my job a bit harder, but we'll go ahead and make the most of it. It's tough, but we're gonna be missing a lot of our favorite Pokemon to start, maybe even at the end of the generation. We just gotta accept that as a new normal because the games, they profitize more from the downloadable content and home and all of that shenanigans. So next up, got a guy whose name should not be allowed on Twitter. Get on your shit, Elon. Come on, don't even get me started on Elon Musk. Not a fan of him. But with that said, this guy is asking if terrestrial is going to be banned, and that's kind of the big question. Almost akin to Dynamax last generation. Obviously, there's some fundamental differences. It's a totally different mechanic, but it's the same concept. We have a core mechanic of a generation, the differentiator of the generation, if you will, and we want to know if it's going to get banned or not, if it's going to be too good or not. Because last generation we wanted to preserve Dynamax really badly, but it broke the fucking game. It was ridiculous. You couldn't have counterplay around it consistently. It was just too much. So terrestrial. Terrestrial. So let me know the pronunciation in the comments. I'm gonna have to say this in a lot of videos. It basically gives you another stab or a double stab, and that can really buff your offensive profile. And every single nitty-gritty detail about it, I don't know yet, but the premise of being able to add on any stab to your typing offensively and even in a sense defensively potentially can really elongate and also multiply the threatening nature of a lot of the best Pokemon, in my opinion. Suddenly you've got another resistance, but also your coverage moves are hitting twice as hard. You basically have an adaptability, and that can be picked on whim. Certainly having 2 types and all the coverage they do already makes a lot of offensive Pokemon strong enough. But imagine something like a Garchomp with this mechanic triggered for it. Forget about it. Suddenly you're not as weak to ice, or suddenly your coverage move is just demolishing Skarmory and Corviknight, your fire, or whatever. It's a lot, and there are going to be so many combinations of it. I mean, Tapos I know aren't in the game to start, but imagine Tapo Lele with double stab plus it's a lot, and I don't think it takes up an ability. I don't even think it takes up an item spot. It doesn't require you to be locked into anything. It comes almost drawback free, so it's a lot. Do I think it's going to be banned is the question, though. In my heart of heart, yeah. And I don't think people are going to hear this, but I think that it is probably going to end up banned. Do I want it to be banned? No, I really want it to stay. I think it's cool to have that differentiator in the generation. My heart sank a little bit when we had to think Dynamax last generation. And we've learned from that. We're going to try and give it, a bit of a leash. But if it's not possible, it's not possible. Ultimately the community is going to decide, of course. We're going to try and give it as much time as we can and, make as educated a decision as we can. I'm hoping, day one, it's not as fearful as we might imagine. But obviously, we aren't going to know for sure until we know for sure. So we have to wait and see. My hunch is that it's going to end up broken. My heart of heart is saying it's probably going to end up banned, within a couple weeks or a month or whatever. My hope is that it doesn't. My hope is that I'm wrong, and a lot of other people are wrong, and I'm going to try and do everything I can to make that possible. As cheerleader, I do have some sway, some input, but obviously we're going to have to see how the games play. We're going to have to make the most of the situation from there. It's a great question, and we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Amir, Smagan Amir, asks, talk about the removal of hail and its replacement on snow. Buffs ice defenses, stackable with Aurora Veil. So that's pretty awesome, in my opinion. Ice type has unfortunately been one of the least cared for types by Game Freak and the least common types competitively. We see the resurgence of Weavile this generation being awesome, and Kyurem being broken. Heavy duty boots certainly amplified the viability of a number of ice types, not only in OU, but also trickling down the meta games, and therefore making it less, weak to entry hazards. It's just an awesome benefit. However, they're still pretty lackluster defensively, being weak to fighting, being weak to fire, being weak to rock, even aside from the fact that rocks are there. Rock is still easily common typing, and not having many resistances aside from ice itself, really, it's certainly a lackluster defensive typing, in my opinion. And some secondary typings, they're awesome for it, and we love seeing that. But all in all, it's tough because ice has definitely gotten a short end of the stick as a typing. So now seeing a playstyle that could revitalize a certain number of ice types with that ability, coupled with the fact that it's going to really improve their defensive. Maybe we'll see hail stall like into Generation 5 and stuff like that. I think that would be awesome. Obviously, we're still dealing with a finite number of possibilities as opposed to, limitless, because, types like water and fighting have so many different offensive and defensive options. Ice, pretty limited pool, and I don't know what's going to be in the game, but I don't think that's a step in the right direction. I think this is probably a generation or two overdue, and I'm not going to, take a shot at Game Freak, Nintendo, whoever, Pokemon Company, because they're doing an awesome job putting out generation of generation of generation, but I really think this is one of the positive changes of this generation, if you will, and I'm really excited for it. Cover, buff, / nerfs the Mons now with the stats updated. Actually, that's probably gonna be a video of its own. Skyrander, Krista Skyrander asking. Yeah, I mean, once we have all the data and I have a minute to sit down, probably a day next week, I'll try and make a video, a hype video. I think that's the play for sure. But right now, I just don't have enough information. It's not all consolidated. The leaks are still coming, and I don't want to speak erroneously per se. So I appreciate the patience. At Zarud EEE. LQH says, this gen is going to be messy as Gen 5, bruh. All the new offensive tools and a targeted recovery. Crying face. Yeah. That's what the consensus is right now. We're seeing Recover have less PP, Roost have less PP. Apparently Soft-Boiled, which Clefable is in the game, so it might not matter, has the same amount of PP. Wish is the same amount of PP, but still, those things have less PP. There's less Defog, less Scald, less knockoff potential as well. I'm not too sure. It's clearly looking offensively, especially if you factor in new mechanics like Terra. A lot of new offensive tools. I feel like a lot of the Pokemon are more offensively geared that we're seeing come out in the forms and whatnot. So I definitely think the metagame at first is going to be a bit more of a hodgepodge of offensive strategies, more so than restricted balance and bulky teams trying to compensate. I think Stall is not going to be at the forefront of the metagame, basically. I mean, I don't want to be shocked if eventually it does, but we've been pretty good this generation, Generation 8, which is the most proactive OU right now, in my opinion. And I'm hoping that, Generation 9 is a continuation of that. We see more offensive play, creativity, and obviously one day we're going to hit a balance. But this generation is settled really nicely into more of a bulky offensive status quo with a lot of hyper offense. So I'm hoping we can see a continuation of that moving forward, and I'm really excited for what's to come with Generation 8. The nerfs to old abilities like Protein as Neon Tetraploid. Stephen I don't know if that's an actual name. If I did, I butchered it. I'm so sorry. Just kidding. I suck at pronouncing names. It's not me, man. The nerfs of old abilities like Protein. So yeah, Protein, I believe, is only going to impact one time. So like you come in with your Greninja, right? And in turn one you use Ice Beam, you become an Ice type. But then turn 2 you use Gun Shot. You don't become a Poison type. I think that's my understanding of it. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I definitely think that's going to downplay the effectiveness of something like Protein Greninja or Libero on Cinderace, and that's gonna be tough for those Pokemon, but I think it might balance Cinderace and even Greninja, which was banned Generation 6, and Cinderace was banned Generation 8. Generation 7, even with Z-moves, Greninja was fine. I think that, we might be seeing it being OU Pokemon just because limited Pokedex, but it might not be super broken. It might be able to really be good with choice items now. I think choice specs might be awesome on that. Makes it a little more prediction reliant, but you can really kick everything's ass still. So I'm thinking it'll definitely hurt viability, but it won't outright remove viability, and it'll make it so that they play differently. I actually think it's more competitive. I didn't really love Libero and Protein initially. I mean, I definitely unique aspects, but I wasn't super fond of them now, so I kind of like it more this way. The Kyloms asks, are there Pokemon in this game? That's my guy. CM and I go way back. OU mod team, back like 2015, 2016. You know, we vibe, man. I've been friends with him for like 5-6 years now. It's crazy. Makes me feel old. Are there Pokemon? Verdict still pending. Seems unlikely. I don't think Pokemon game have Pokemon, unfortunately. If you're looking for that, you might want to try Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Digimon franchises. I hear they've been integrating Pokemon at a rapid rate due to the lack of Pokemon in Pokemon games. So unfortunately, we'll be seeing no Pokemon in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Tough. I know. Real tough. And then finally, last but surely not least, we've got No Norvaru. Foot connoisseur. Okay, buddy. From what I have seen, Stall seems super dead. Terra is super potent, offensive tool that offers little defensively, and recovery nerf really fucks over defensive builds. You think Stall will exist in Gen 9? Yeah, Stall's always going to find a way to exist. It might not exist day 1, might not exist day 10, but day 100 or day 500, it'll exist eventually. There will be a point in SV where there's a Stall team that peaks ladder or sees some tournament usage. It's just a matter of when and what. We've seen this go around, a lot of generations at the start. Mind you, we see all these offensive tools like, oh shit, Stall's really dead now. Sheer Force Landers, Stall's really dead now. Mega Evolution, Stall's really dead now. Z-Move, Stall's really dead now. It's never dead. They always come back. And yeah, we've seen some fundamental changes that might even supersede the importance of those ones that I just alluded to. And we may see Stall really struggle to exist for a year or two, but it's a long generation. I wouldn't be shocked if there's still some pockets where Stall's good. Definitely balanced if not. But yeah, no, I struggle to believe the fact that Stall won't exist. I think we're going to see more things come out of the woodworks. It'll be interesting to see. These are all the questions you guys asked me. I really do appreciate it. If there's any more, I'll try and get to them. I don't think I'm going to make another video on this specific subtopic, but on Generation 9, feel free to comment what you want to see me cover on Generation 9 too. Maybe I'll do some research and get really into that with these analytical videos. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much for commenting on this tweet, or tweeting back this tweet rather, and have a great day. Look forward to Generation 9. So hope we're all hyped. Okay. Bye, guys.